promises. You do you and I'll do me, that's just the way it is.
Boom.
Biddly bo. Yes, yeah. Here we go. There ain't nobody down round here. You know what time it is. Get that badger in and on and over here. We had to move back to get his greatness in. Nobody do it how he does it. Shit is as shit does. If you could keep liking and subscribing to the channel, guys, it really helps. The subscribers are dropping by 3s and 4s. I think the intros are getting to everybody a little bit, but you know, we keep it real over here, don't we? Keep nobody do it how we does it. Quick shit vid. We've got a little bit to talk about. Craig Bellamy has opened his big mouth, as he always tends to do. He's been, obviously, the international break is coming up, into it, and obviously he's the Wales manager, and he has been in an interview discussing Dan James and others. Obviously, we do have a Welsh contingency, don't we, where a lot of them do go away and play on international duty. Now, he has mentioned that James has an ankle problem. He has said that he's picked him for the squad. However, you know, ultimately, he isn't. Nobody's 100% certain that he's going to be there, due to the fact that he's not been playing for Leeds United. Now, I've been becoming increasingly, Jesus Christ, I've been becoming increasingly concerned that Dan James has been struggling for fitness from the start of the season. To be honest, I know I've banged on about it, but it didn't seem like 100%, and it dawned on me against Arsenal a little bit when. I know before we got the thumping, sort of the first 10 minutes when we were still sort of somewhat in the game, he had a few opportunities to get at his left back, and he didn't really seem that like 100 mile an hour like he normally is. And obviously he's extremely fast. That's his main asset, isn't it? You would say, you know, getting to byline, try to whip it in. But he had a few opportunities to like get in behind while he was on the ball, or, you know, just move the ball forward quickly like he does. He just opens his legs and goes for it. And he didn't want to seem to do it. So I just put it down to like maybe a confidence thing, but I'm becoming increasingly concerned that he just keeps picking up knocks. And obviously this one it's been rumbled all morning. It's been quite worrying really for Dan James in general, trying to suggest that he might be out for quite a lengthy time with this ankle injury. They're talking about potential ACL and stuff. Whereas, you know, I don't know whether, you know, I think Leeds have tried to throw a little bit of water on the fire there. I sometimes wonder with international managers that they enjoy a little bit of the spotlight. You know, I don't know whether they get a little bit jealous, because I can't imagine Farke's overly delighted with Craig Bellamy coming out and banging on about Dan James's potentially unconfirmed injury. You know, until we've sort of heard, we're still a week away from international duty, aren't we? And until we've heard from Farke on Thursday, I personally think it's Farke's job to mention injuries and be bringing injuries up in interviews. I don't really think it's Bellamy's decision at this point. So, you know, nobody likes the international breaks anyway. Just do away with them. Nobody wants them. But yeah, it's just interesting the dynamic in it between the international managers and the club managers. I don't know whether they're closer together now than they once was. I mean, it was famous, wasn't it, back in there when, you know, the alt scum players would pick up injuries, you know, days before the international, or Ferguson. I mean, Gerrard loved an injury. He always picked up an injury. You know, he'd come off after 70 minutes in the Liverpool game, and then he wouldn't be able to go to international duty and stuff. And I think at the time, you know, I think Ferguson had let the Man United players go, and he'd say they only play 45 minutes. And I do think that's gone away as well. And I think the problem is, ultimately, Farke will not want Dan James going on international duty, because I don't think there's the relationship there where you can go, well, he does need minutes and he is relatively fit. But I don't think the international managers care anymore. I don't think they have that. I don't know if it's a respect thing or whether, you know, they're worried about their job or whatever. They've got their job to do, haven't they? So I sort of see both sides of it, really. But ultimately, when the player hasn't been playing for the club, I think the international manager needs to just go, you know, fair enough. You know, that's his paycheck, isn't it? He's more required. It depends. I don't know. I suppose it depends on your viewpoint, doesn't it? But ultimately, we'd like Dan James to be staying at home and not going out on international duty, even if it'd do him some good to get some minutes in. You just know that Bellamy will ultimately play him in, you know, every single minute that's available to him. You know, and if he gets injured while he's on international duty, Bellamy just sort of holds his hands up, doesn't he, and say, well, yeah, injuries happen. I'm just interested to know what you think about, you know, whether or not you think the international manager's sort of getting in the way. Is it a little bit of the limelight? I mean, Bellamy does like it. You know, I do get the impression of him that I think he'd like to be quite bold and outspoken and what have you. So what are your thoughts on that? My thoughts are just do away with the international breaks, just no more of them. If it's competitive games, squeeze them in elsewhere, squeeze them all in pre-seasons and end at season or something. I can't stand the international breaks. It's awful. Rodon is, I know that, by the way, I know they can't do that. There's got to be some element of international duty and all that stuff and yada, yada, yada. But I just want to watch Leeds United. Rodon has shouldered some of the blame for the late equaliser against Bournemouth, which is good stuff in it. It's good that players are willing to take accountability and they don't need babying through each and every single mishap and every single decision that happens upon the pitch. He said in an interview, as an individual and a defender, I look at myself first. And that is what we want to be hearing. There was some awful defending against Arsenal from the set pieces. And I thought, nobody's taking any ownership here. So it's good that Rodon's come out and said that. Because I think really, I think ultimately when we all turned off against Bournemouth, didn't we? We all thought the victory was done, and then it gets pumped into box. And you can look around at everybody else as much as you want, but ultimately you've got to be in the right place at the right time. And I'm aware that you can't all just go gung-ho chasing football and everybody trying to win the header, but I don't think it's a time to start pointing the finger, really. I really think set pieces are, they're a bit of a worry under Farker at the moment. The stats are sort of stacking up against him a little bit, no pun intended, with stacked set piece specialist. They are sort of like, we are showing weaknesses again from that. I remember in the Bielsa era, and he very rarely spoke about set pieces. And it's a thing that the media can really get stuck into, and stats never look good, do they, from, a defending point of view, unless you are super solid. If you conceded sort of 6 goals over 10, 15 games even, that's not good, is it? So I don't know how many, I'm not well versed enough to know exactly how many goals is standard over a full season, but, you could be really unlucky is what I'm saying, and concede 6 in your first 6 and then not concede again for another 15 corners. Do you know what I mean? Then suddenly you become good at them. So it's a weird one. But yeah, it's frustrating to concede from set pieces, and it's something we've spoke about from the very start of the season. Just it's the last thing you want to be doing. He's been really resilient, really strong, flying into tackles, blocking shots, getting goals as we have started to do, and then you concede just stupid free kicks. Free kick goals and long punted play, because that's ultimately what did us at Bournemouth. It's a free kick on the edge at box. Don't know why the wall jumped for me. Don't want to talk about Aronson anymore. Laid down ridiculously, and then a long ball pumped into box. Last minute. It's just a little bit frustrating, but you take the point and we move on. People are finally now saying that Longstaff's goal was a great strike, which is genuinely lovely to hear, because that is a fact. It was a lovely strike. People suggesting that you have to, well, no, I'm not even going to say it. It's just so pointless. He did not slice the ball. It was well struck. That's what happens. You hit the ball towards the goal and it ends up in top bin sometimes. If it had been Stack or anybody else at the club, there'd have been no talk of it being a bit of a shank. It wasn't a shank whatsoever. Have you ever kicked a ball, guys? But he got him straight in a huddle, didn't he, after the first corner goal when it's been whipped in. Obviously, Longstaff whipped it in and Rodon's won the header. And basically give them all a pep talk saying that they're all good enough at this level. And he mentioned that they are just players running at you. So if they're on the ball and they're running at you, it's just a football player. And this is honestly why he's my best mate. It's become part of the analysis, hasn't it, on everybody's behalf, where we have to be terrified of the opposition and, and scared and running in fear and think, oh no, we are inferior to these players. These players, a lot of these players are just brand new. The Semenyos of the world, they've popped up out of nowhere, and then everybody's frightened stiff after 6 games, and we're all terrified of Semenyo. It's a long way to go before you become to have people like Salah's prowess, or Harry Kane banging goals in, or Haaland, players that you would actually think, shit, I'm up against it today. It's a tough day, and no serious competitive individual does that, in my opinion. And who cares if they embarrass you? Ultimately, it's very rare that happens anyway. And then if it does happen, you think, fuck it, I turned up proper. And I don't just mean like, oh, I tried my best. I mean, I turned up proper. I took some accountability. I went and did the right thing, rather than shirking it and thinking, well, again, looking around, not taking any accountability, not taking any ownership of you being part of the problem potentially. And just thinking, well, it ain't Bogle's job to deal with that. I need to get over there and I need to help him and I need to be willing to be embarrassed, allegedly, and then see how good the player actually is. like, I don't want to be a Michael Owen, but, you know, Joe did say I'm like Michael Owen the other day, which was a remarkable diss. I'm not sure if he meant it as a diss, but it's quite a brutal takedown. But, you know, Michael Owen said it's a lot harder to create than it is to break things up, innit? You know, smash your house down. I won't have a clue how to build the house, but be able to smash it down is what he said, and it's true. So, you know, Ampadu needs to get over there, doesn't he, as he does, and think, well, go on then, do me. Pull me apart, rip me up, take me and Bogle away from the game. If you are that good, get it done. And then everybody just goes, oh, well, he is that good. That's what I'm saying about for the free kick. If Semenyo puts it in top bin, you just go, well, yeah, brilliant. What a brilliant player. What a brilliant moment. Brilliant players come up with brilliant moments, exceptional moments. You don't think, fucking hell, he's just done Ampadu out wide right there. Ampadu's shit. You think, no, Ampadu's got over there, you know, done his best to win ball, and Semenyo's just the best player in the world. I don't know. You've got to ask. You've got to go over there and be like, well, I think I'm pretty decent at football as well. So let's see what you've got in tank. Go on and beat me. And then if he beats him, he beats him. Do you know what I mean? You've got to be strong in these situations. And then finally, I just want a bit of an overall talk. Will pundits have to start being more honest about our survival chances? There's been a lot spoke about at the start of the season. With the Gary Nevilles of the world and I can't remember his name, he used to do Countdown, Stelling or whatever. And they're, you know, about how bad our transfer window's been and stuff. And then nobody's really been saying how much of a mint signing my mate Sean Longstaff is, how much more of a level Stack's got to go, how good Rodon and Struick have been in the side, you know, how good Bogle's been, how good Goodmanson's been as a new signing as well, you know, how good DCL was at the weekend and, you know, got his first goal the week before. It's good stuff. So Gary Neville has said that we've all started well and that Sunderland have impressed him and stuff. It's undeniable that we've started well. It's what the problem is yet again, it's the week-to-week analysis, isn't it? That never used to happen. So, for instance, last week against Man City, one of the best teams historically in the past 10 years, one of the best teams we've ever seen. Arsenal, the headline is Arsenal need to take the handbrake off. And truth be told, I thought Arsenal could have gone for it a little bit more, but they got a 1-1, whatever. I don't care about Arsenal. But then 1 week later, Arsenal 1-0 down. He makes a couple of changes. They beat Newcastle 2-1, and then suddenly they've taken the handbrake off, and it's all in the headline relentlessly, innit? And I know we do headlines over here, and we all have a laugh about the clickbait and whatever, and we're all creating the same shit relentlessly. And it's to be honest, it's a problem with people don't really care, do they? So I just see the Arsenal thing and I think, I don't really care, but the Arsenal fans do, so it engages them, and it's the same for us. So, like, you know, as an individual fan of football, I just go, well, yeah, Arsenal need to take handbrake off last week, and then this week they did, and it's like the pundit wins, doesn't he? But when you actually watch your club week in, week out, and you think, well, that's inconsistent what you've just been saying about Longstaff at the start of the season, saying it's an uninspiring signing. I can't get inspired by the Longstaff signing, and now we're in this position where he's putting it in top bins, getting an assist, and, you know, creating more chances than anybody in Leeds' history and since Opta began or whatever it was, the stat that I gave you yesterday. So it's just, you know what I mean? It's interesting how they then go, well, we told Arsenal they need to take the handbrake off, and then took the handbrake off. If you were an alien and you came in, or an American that don't watch footy, or somebody's mum that the son only likes, I don't know, cricket or action men, you know, and you tuned into every single one of our games this season, there would only be Arsenal where you'd go, right, Arsenal are in a different league to Leeds United. Every other game you'd think, well, we kept us on, we held us on, we was in the game, were we not? Shit is a shit does. Quick shit vid. Thank you to each and every which one here. I'm driving down to Kent now. I seem to spend more time in Kent than I do with my own house. But we love it. So it is what it is. I'll be back with a quick shit vid tomorrow. And yeah, take it easy, everybody. Please keep liking and subscribing. Drop us a comment. I do my best to get back to everybody that I can. I've been super busy of late, but the channel and the show must go on. Take it easy, everybody. In a bit.
I don't wanna play no games. No, I don't wanna play no games. No, I don't wanna hear your promises. You do you and I'll do me. That's just the way it is.
Boom.